so many people ask me, you're going to sell one cake, just one cake? Because I only sell one cake, by the way, on RÓA, right? So, yeah, you know that. So I only literally have one product. I do it in 3 sizes, one product. It was a gamble. I decided that I wanted to do it proper in a way. So I went ahead to rent a kitchen. I had my own space, my own commercial space. And all this was just money put in good faith, knowing that, partly hoping, partly calculated risk that it would take off, because I noticed that there were so many people with the requests.
Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Chill MomBoss Show, and I'm your host, Michelle Hon. And today with me, I have Jane. Jane is the founder of RÓA Midnight, an artisanal patisserie. Is the home to the iconic midnight cake. If you have not tried this cake, you have to, because it has totally changed my perception of what a vegan cake should taste like. It's delicious. It's interestingly uses avocado instead of butter. And Jane previously used to work in the banking sector, but she's now a trained pastry chef who started her home baking business from home. And and also because I suppose we'll just jump right in. Welcome Jane and let her tell her story. Hi Jane.
Hi Michelle, it's lovely to meet you again.
Always lovely to see you too. So would you mind telling our audience how you started the business and why? Like, first of all, what was the transition like? What made you want to start this business, and how is it like? Is it because you want to stay at home for your girls, or is it the other way around? So yeah, tell us.
So it's very interesting. Like you mentioned, I used to be in banking. So the whole transition was I had a passion in pastry. I had a passion in doing desserts. So that's when I decided to make the career switch. And when I did a career switch, it was a very drastic one. It wasn't about just, taking a course. I literally left the country. I went to Australia and I did a patisserie course at the Cordon Bleu. So it was a really major shift. Having said that, I expected myself to, carry on this in like working full time in the hotels and all the fine dining restaurants and all that. But as you know, life would have it, I went there with my husband and I was very blessed to have a baby girl. So that made me rethink my priorities, and we came home to Singapore and I decided to be a stay-at-home mom. Yeah, so having that fire in me, that wanting to do this as a career, I couldn't just be a stay-at-home mom and not do anything. So I decided that why don't I try doing home baking? At that point there were some home bakers. It was like a good 7-8 years ago. There were home bakers around, but I decided that I wanted to do something that wasn't widely available, and that's when I started my home baking fondant cake business. That was my very, very first venture.
All right, so you started with fondant cake. How was it different then compared to the other home baker back then?
So I think it was more the style, the trend. So a lot of the cakes that were available were very, very cute, very loud in colors, very vibrant colors. Whereas I brought a very pastel shade tone, and I wanted something very muted, very, very minimal in that sense.
Right.
It was a bit of a change. And also I think I did a lot more. Maybe I have girls or something. I did a lot more female cakes, baby girl cakes. Yeah.
And it's still very much sort of like the colors of RÓA Midnight now, right? It's very minimalist. It's very muted tone. It's not bright and loud and niche.
Yeah.
Very elegant. I like it.
Thank you.
So then, how did you transition into making vegan cake or pastry?
Right. So there was a little bit of a transition in between. I started doing it's called Pretty Delicious. That was my old business, the fondant cake business. And then I shifted into the next business was naked cakes. So I heard about, or rather I sensed, and I felt the frustration of not being able to do more. I wanted to scale and I wasn't able to because I had to do everything from scratch. And that's when I started naked cakes. So that was my second business. So when I started naked cakes, I literally supplied my cakes, the bases, to home bakers. They would buy it and decorate it and then sell it. So it saved them time. It was efficient. It helped, it helped them scale a little bit more.
Yeah.
Home base. Yeah. And then when I listened to a lot of queries from parents, many people who asked me for cakes were always, those who were left out really spoke to me. They couldn't eat because their kids were allergic, or the party someone was allergic, and that really bugged me a lot. But having said that, I was like, oh, you know what? That's the minority. I'm not going to bother about that, blah, blah, blah. So it didn't really hit me until my own goddaughter had severe allergies. So she has major 3 allergies: eggs, gluten, and dairy. So can you imagine not having these 3 things in one single cake? It's really challenging. I can tell you that even from a pastry chef's point of view, the challenge in making that scientific concoction, it's not easy. So that's when I decided that, you know what, as a godma, I needed to do something for her. And that really was what drove me to create this recipe.
Was it? So usually sometimes it's not, I think a lot of business, especially when it's female founded business, a lot of our business is really founded because of a struggle that we have, or a struggle that someone close to us have, and look where it took you. So from Naked Cake, I mean, you already have your clientele back then that was like relying on your cake bases for them to decorate on and build on and sell, and you decided to, okay, I'm not serving you anymore, I'm going into this. So like, how was that transition like? It would be hard to say no to income and go into something so like entirely unknown.
You are right. You are very, very right on that. Actually, you're spot on. When what I did was that I didn't want to disappoint my clients. I have very loyal core following, home bakers who actually depended on my services. So what I did was I actually sold the business. Right. So I sold that business to somebody who was as passionate about supplying, as passionate about, supporting home bakers. So I was very glad that was taken care of. But the transition, like you mentioned, was very scary because this new company, I met with so many people ask me, you're going to sell one cake, just one cake? Because I only sell one cake, by the way, on RÓA, right? So, yeah, you know that. So I only literally have one product. I do it in 3 sizes, one product. It was a gamble. I decided that I wanted to do it proper in a way. So I went ahead to rent a kitchen. I had my own space, my own commercial space. And all this was just money put in good faith, knowing that, partly hoping, partly calculated risk that it would take off, because I noticed that there were so many people with the requests.
Yeah. And sometimes really, if you have just that one good product, all you need is just one good product instead of, developing like 10 different SKUs and 10, 20 different types and each only selling 1 or 2 units, right? So it's good that you are, I'm sure till today, you're always trying to perfect that formula, perfect that recipe, make this even better and better every day, right?
Yeah, you just caught me at the right time. Like, honestly, the last week was a nightmare for me. Talking about real-time situations here, right? So one of my suppliers of one of the flours that I bring in, the gluten-free flour, completely changed the concoction.
Oh.
It completely threw me off. My entire recipe literally failed. It sunk. And Christmas time.
I know, right? That's
like the best time to
change your formula now.
So thankfully, with the immense amount of support I have from my team, as well as the baking knowledge that I gained from school and all that, yesterday I was so glad to say that I actually managed to perfect, and I created my own entire blend of flour.
I'm like heaving a sigh of relief for you. Not really. I'm so glad to hear that.
It's so stressful. It was so stressful.
Eat your cake during this period, especially those who can't have cake like most of the year. Like just any cake, they need that cake. Festive season.
I know it's a birthday and it's someone's.
Wow.
It's festive.
Okay. Wow, it's like a huge gamble. It's good that you managed to sell the first not first, your second business, Naked Cake, someone to sort of still carry on what you built on.
That's
and then when you say it's in good faith, you started RÓA Midnight. From idea to making that first sale, how long did it take you?
1 year.
1 year.
Yeah.
1 full year. But in between this 1 full year, you were still doing your naked cake business.
I was doing the cakes, yes. So what I did, and I recommend this to people who are probably like me, who don't take huge risk and just, well, it sounded very, very drastic. Like I just sold it off and I started. It didn't happen just like that.
Yeah, that's a transition period.
That's right. I tested this product. I tested the midnight cake with my naked cake customers. I tested it with home bakers. I tested it with my customers. I tested it even with my previous clients from Pretty Delicious. So as many people as I could. And from there, I got a sense. I listened to them and I tweaked the recipe. It took me 9 months just to get the recipe. 3 months to plan the business, but 9 months to get the recipe right. So, you know, and that was when I felt like, yes, it's the right time. So I don't think anybody can tell you when the right time is. I think you should be willing to listen to your inner self as well as your customers.
Yeah, absolutely. I think a lot of time people just don't spend the time talking to others, talking to your target audience, or target market, target customer, whatever you call them. A lot of time they just like be in themselves and just like, I don't know, close the door and try to work on the product all by themselves. And that's absolutely wrong thing to do, right? You need to listen, you need to perfect, you need to keep reiterating while getting the feedback from people. And but sometimes you do get conflicting kind of like feedback though. So how do you discern like, oh, I listened to this, but not this?
So I think one of the more important things is to know in your heart, why did you want to do this? So want to have that as your guiding principle. Like the whole reason why I want to do this is because I want to make a cake delicious for people who have allergies to be enjoyed with everybody together. So what does that mean? That means that I need to create something that is palatable to even people who don't have allergies, right? So when I get responses on things like, oh, you know, you should do more flavors, you should do vanilla because I like vanilla, or I should do strawberry because I like strawberry. And then that was like, to me, noise. You know, it was good feedback, but it's something which I would take into consideration in future. But right now, what is my focus? Is my focus to make 10 different flavors to make everybody happy? No, my focus is to make that one person in that party who cannot enjoy cake to enjoy it with everybody else. So then, you know, you shift back your mindset. Yeah,
I love that. So having a clear vision at the start, and while you get a feedback, stay true to that vision.
Yes, you said it perfectly.
I love it. Oh, great. Okay, so now, you know, since then, you have grown leaps and bounds. I see your name, your business name everywhere. So tell us, what have you done in between, you know, starting it, finding the right audience, knowing that this would work, you know, jumping into commercial kitchen and all that, to actually now making sales? How do you grow that?
Okay, so in the beginning, it was very slow. It was very, you know, a gentle growth, which is what I think all businesses should expect in the first 6 months of a business, right? You should buffer for that. But I did a lot of collaborations. I talked to a lot of people who I felt would benefit from this collaboration, like other moms, you know, but definitely you'll be met with rejections in the beginning, right? Because people don't know you, you're new, so it's difficult, but you will find people who are willing to listen and who also know your vision and are willing to give you that shot as well. So I would say I didn't stop knocking on doors. I went to as many events as I could, networking events, you know, supported. I'm actually very much active on the vegan space as well. The cake is vegan. So again, that was one of the opportunities which gave me a lot of exposure. And I'm very grateful. And through that, I learned to be very plant-based myself. So we influence each other. Yeah, but that aside, I think collaborations were very important. Online learning, really learning the ropes of, you know, Google Analytics, Instagram, social media, all these things you probably would teach your students as well. Yeah, so all these things, you know, we have to learn along the way. And really, I go back to listening to your customers, listening to what they want. That's essentially how I came up with my second product. So I was adamant that the first 3 years I'm going to sell one cake, right? But people keep telling me they love that chocolate layer in the cake. They love that thick chocolate goodness in the cake. And that's how the Midnight Magic was born, which is the jar of the chocolate spread, the ganache that was born, because I listened to the customers, and that's how I came up with my second product. That's how I grew, and I get good feedback from customers. So yeah, so you just listen and you just follow along with what you think works.
Wow. So it takes a lot of resilience as well to be like knocking on doors and asking people if they would want to collaborate with So in terms of collaboration, so a lot of people are like, okay, yes, I know I need to partner with people, I need to collaborate. So how do you come up with like partnership terms? What you decide, like what is like a win-win situation for both parties, right?
So one very good example would be I have recently partnered with Marianne's Lactation Bakes.
Mm-hmm.
They are one of the leading pioneers in lactation bakes in Singapore, right? So they have done, they've been around way longer than I have, and they serve a purpose. They serve, breastfeeding moms that support on eating right to boost your milk. However, they are not able to come up, or rather, they don't have that the kitchen space to come up with an allergen-friendly recipe. You see, and parents who have kids with allergies, again, they fall through the cracks, and that's where I come in. And we collaborate really well because not only am I able to provide the taste that is there, but I'm able to provide the kitchen that's allergen friendly. So the collaboration works perfectly because they serve their customers a need, and I'm able to expose my brand to their customers who have young kids. And eventually, in a year's time, they want to get their first birthday cake from me. That's where we have a win-win.
Yeah. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, that's like finding someone else who has the customer that you want.
Exactly. We both want each other's customers in that sense. Yeah. We support each other.
Win-win as well. Always think of a win-win way of how you can grow together.
Yes.
That's great. And I get asked this question a lot, and people love hearing about this question. I don't really like to ask it, but I have to. You have two girls yourself. When you started a business, especially now that it's grown beyond, home baking business, how do you manage it?
Okay, you'd be very surprised to know that I actually don't have a helper. So I don't have a helper. Not that everybody should have a helper, but what I'm saying is that because I work full time, my husband works full time. We really depend on childcare. Occasionally, I do involve the grandparents, but generally, I think we have to be really strict. And I plan my meals. I plan my schedule. I have a pretty solid team, which helps me out a huge amount, so that's really helpful. But I would say planning is so important. You don't have a good schedule, it really goes everywhere. So I make sure that in the morning I have my meals planned out the night before. I do my grocery shopping 1 week before, things like that. It just helps you get into the momentum.
Right. Okay, so there you go.
The reality of mom business.
Yes, there you go. I think like they're probably fighting or something. I'll sort it out. Sorry, dude. Well, anyway, so all right, cool. So so a lot of planning on your part because at home you don't really have help.
I don't.
It's more like the grandparents sometimes, but childcare. Because they're still fairly young, 4 and 7, right?
Yes, they are 4 and 7. So the younger one's in childcare. The older one, she's pretty well trained to do things herself, like behave herself, the usual stuff.
Right.
Well, I'm not sure but COVID has sort of helped a little bit because now my husband works from home, so
right.
to take care of her. So that
you can help a little bit now.
Yes, yeah. If not, I will send her to classes, or I send her sometimes to the grandparents in the afternoons. Or I just plan my schedules and my meetings in the morning, and then afternoon I'd be present at home with her.
Okay, so like a lot of planning. So do you plan your week in advance, and then you take it day by day?
I plan my work schedule. So my work schedules are pretty fixed on a weekly basis, but my meetings and all that, yes, I try to plan it as early as possible. So even a month ahead.
Get out of the way.
Yes, like our conversation, we planned it. We planned it like a month or so ahead, right? So that helps.
Yes, we have to plan things in advance. Okay, if we're doing anything, let's put it in the calendar, because if it's not in the calendar, it's not done.
Yes,
but it won't happen. Great. So, how many people do you have on your team now, work-wise?
I have 4. I have four people, 4 wonderful ladies. We're also a ladies' business, I think. 4 ladies, and 2 of them have been with me for a couple of years now. One of them 4 years, and 2 slightly newer staff. But they're all super supportive. Like the recent crisis that I had, everybody was like, even if they couldn't help me directly, they were like praying for me. They were like fingers crossing for me, like just supporting, asking how's everything. So I think the synergy in the team is really what keeps the momentum going. So sometimes no man is an island. You can't work. You start off alone. I started the business alone, but over time you need to have that support, be it from your collaborations people, the partners, or from your team, family. You do need that support.
I'm totally on board with that, because sometimes like when you're by yourself, I noticed that before, when I was without a team, I tend to slag off myself as well. I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like doing it, but then because I have a team, I got like, okay, they are waiting for me to get my shit done so that they can get their part done, right?
Exactly.
Okay, I gotta get this done. I gotta like plan for them as well, right? Or they would plan me, or they would like remind me, hey, Michelle, send me this. Hey, Michelle, have you had a chance to look at my email yet? So I'm like,
they're the boss, honestly.
No, they're the boss.
Yeah, they're the boss.
They manage my timing and my planning and all that. Because I'm actually, I do my planning quite well, but I am more of like a ad hoc kind of feeling sort of person. I would sometimes plan, oh, I want to talk about this on my podcast, or I want to go on live and talk on this. But sometimes I wake up on that day and just don't feel like that myself, and just won't do it.
That's true.
If I want to say something, if I want to go on live and talk about something, I have to be feeling it. I have to be like in that zone. Because if I'm talking about productivity, but I haven't really been productive for the past 2 days, then I feel like I'm just not in the zone or in the right frame of mind to talk about things. So I tend to like move around. Like they would plan everything out, and I'm always going in there like just move it, delete it. Oh, can you do this instead? So yeah.
But I think that's where the beauty of being an entrepreneur is, because you are the creative, and that's where the magic really lies, right?
Yes. Like the ideas, I constantly have great ideas. So I think it's great, but probably not so much for my teams. Like, oh my gosh, you're gonna have a new ideas. Oh my gosh, she wants to launch this in a week's time.
Like what? Again, this is new.
I thought you just did a challenge like 2 weeks ago. You want to launch another one, and then the behind the scene, there's a lot of things that is happening.
Yeah, that people don't see, all the underwater.
So I mean, like, it's great that you get to a stage where you have support and the business is growing, and you're taking your time to develop one product after another. What's the advice that you would give like a home baker right now who have perhaps started a business and they have consistent sales and they're thinking of growth? So what should they do first? Like get more sales and hire, or should they hire and then expect for sales? It's like a chicken and egg thing, right?
Yes, that is very true. So I would probably go back to a whole business plan concept, right? Which is what you would talk about this a lot. So I would say if you are serious about starting an actual bakery to move out there, first of all, think about why. If you are clear about why you want to do it, who is your customer? Like why I did it was for the reason of the allergen-friendly people, blah, blah, blah. So if you see a gap and you see that there is something that is not available in the market that you can kill it with, I would say go for it, right? Of course, plan your budget, plan your lease period. So when I first started the business, I went for places that had much more pocket-friendly leases, and I signed a 2-year contract, and I knew that in the 2 years, even if I had 0 sales, I was able to afford the loss. Right? So that's one thing, because it is it's a contract, it's a legal binding contract. You want to be mortgaging your house for it, so make sure you save up for that. The other thing I would say that before you decide to hire, think about what job you want to give to person and who would be a best fit, because a lot of times when people hire, they think that I just want to hire and I don't want to do anything. They run the whole production for me. It's not going to happen. They're not going to be able to do the same style as you. They're not going to put in the same passion as well. They would be passionate in their own right. So carve out what you need for them to do, especially when it comes to physical manpower, because they come with their own mindset, they come with their own ideas as well. So I think it's good to tap on their ideas. Like I have somebody who's an artist. She's actually a watercolor artist.
Oh,
she does my decorations.
Oh,
so it's a perfect match. She's not a baker, but she loves the aesthetic, she loves to do, and she's fantastic at it. So it's really a fit for her. Yeah. So I think it's really about finding the right person. So a lot of problems when I encounter when I hear from bakers who expand. They say that, oh, I want a person to bake, I want a person to wash, I want a person to decorate. But you know what? That one person, if she could do all three, she would run her own business. That's what the reality check is that. So I would say hire someone to assist you, to enhance you, such that you free up certain aspects of your time that you think are easy to outsource and easy to because people change, when people get pregnant, people leave, people move countries or whatever. So find something that you can outsource and replicate more easily, that can rehire without as much pain, or find a process that will help you. So plan all these things before you even make your first hire. Yeah, that's what I would advise.
And the process in your business, the process, the system, and which part of the system are you outsourcing right now, and hopefully that's like and within that part of the job, have a system for it as well, so that it's easy if that person happens to fall sick, you still have someone to be able to.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all this with me. I think it's very valuable for, there's a lot of home baker out there. And another question that I would ask is that if you were to do this all over again, what would you have done differently?
That's a good question. I would probably try to, I would probably try to hire people earlier, because I know it's very ironic I just said that, right? To plan ahead and all that. But I would say that I would try to hire people earlier, because I realized that a big bulk of my time in the beginning was spent on doing production, which as a business owner, you should be focused on growing the business.
Yes.
So when you take out because when you're doing production, you're focused on that. Your mental space, when you come back, you're just exhausted. And that's the nature of doing businesses that require a lot of production. Be it you're creating, you're sewing something, or you're baking something, you're physically there. It takes a lot of mental energy away, and then you end up postponing your marketing plans, you end up postponing the Instagram posts, you end up, wasting that valuable time to gain traction in the beginning. So I would say that was what I would probably have done. I would have probably tried to take in that risk to say, you know what, save up a little bit extra just to hire that first person earlier, or the second person earlier, so that I could grow the business, and the monetary growth from growing the business would way cover that,
Yeah, that salary that you're paying someone else to do, and you're thinking in terms of growth, and it's for the long term. Yeah. Great, I love that. Yes, because that's the saying, like, if you are the business owner, don't be in the business, be on the business.
Yes.
If you're just doing all the work, you can't free up the mental space, like you mentioned, to think about, how can I grow this? How can I things in terms of strategic partnerships?
Yes.
Great, thank you so much. And if our audience would love to taste, I think you should by now. If you're like, by now you're still not like, feeling like tasting Jane's chocolate midnight cake, you totally should. Where can our audience find you?
So I am on Instagram. It's at RÓA_midnight. I also have a website. It's, the website, www.roa.com.sg. And I have my kitchen, come pick a point space, and I'm always there, usually there. So come say hi, and I give out, just to let you know, I give out a lot of free cakes when people come visit.
I'm coming.
So I love to meet people. I love to say hi. I'm at Kovan.
Where's your kitchen right now?
Kovan is at Jalan Pelikat. Yeah, Kovan. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm living in Kovan, Jalan Pelikat. Stop by and pick up Jane's cake. So thank you so much for joining us and sharing your experience and how you've grown RÓA Midnight. I'm so proud of you and how far you've come.
Michelle, you've been so supportive since day one, even way before all this. Like, we met on other occasions. I think
we have. I think since Naked Cake. I tried Naked Cake before.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're so sweet.
All right, thank you so much, and thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Bye bye.